All right, guys, welcome to the MMAOB Daily Podcast, Monday, June 5th, 2023. This is the second half of today's podcast. First podcast, we just recapped UFC Vegas 74, Care France versus Albazi. So if you want to listen to that, we got into that controversial decision. We talked about all the fights in that card. A pretty good card overall. And then now we shift our focus to Marcel to UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana. This Saturday, back in my home country of Canada, Marcel in Vancouver. Our good friend James Lynch will be in attendance. He's going to be doing the media there this week. So, James, hope you have a great week, my friend. And I'll see you next month at UFC 290. But, Marcel, we're going to review the card. We have 12 fights on this card. A lot of people, I would say, think this card's a little bit of a weaker pay-per-view. There are obviously a couple really big fights in the main card. But overall, I just think it's kind of missing one more big fight, personally. And also, we had a fight fall off last week with Khalil Roundtree and Chris Daukaus. Overall, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but it is missing like a couple big fights. So what do you think about this card, UFC 289, Marcel, just to start it off?
Yeah, before I got into the card, when do you have that parting shot podcast again with James?
It's either, I think we're going to do it next week because he's so busy this week, right? So I think we're going to do it next week. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yep. This card, yeah, like I said, man, in the last podcast, UFC Fight Night Vancouver, you know. Honestly, if I'm really, really honest, the only really high-level fight on this card is, besides the title fight, is Oliveira against Dariush. The other fights are pretty fun, you know. I think Curtis Imavov is also pretty good fight. All the others are really like targeted towards the Canadian crowd, you know what I mean? So it's like almost like how do you say that? An elevated fight night, I would say, you know, with a title fight on it. It can be a fun card, don't get me wrong, but I mean that you guys have to pay like $80 for this one. It's kind of crazy to me, you know. But yeah, looking forward to it still. I'll watch everything, you know. So
yeah. I don't know if I just said 12 fights. I obviously misspoke. It's 11 because we just lost the fight with Khalil Roundtree and Chris Daukaus. So that sucked, by the way. I was looking forward to seeing. I just thought I wanted to see how he'd look his weight, Marcel. Because obviously, let's be honest, at heavyweight he had a flab of his stomach, right? Maybe
he looked good. He looked good when I saw in the training pictures. You know,
sucks, man. So, they're not booking that fight. Are they giving Khalil another opponent? Do you know, or
no? I think this is it. You know,
yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, when I saw your post the other day, Marcel, of the updated card. I was like, fuck, because you're usually you're on the ball, right? So I'm like, okay, I guess they took him off the card. All right, let's just get some comments and we're gonna get into the fights. We got Marcus, Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver's by the way, it's a beautiful city. Been there twice. James lives nearby Vancouver. Been twice, Marcel. Beautiful city. Love it, Vancouver. I think it's the most expensive city, one of them to live in Canada, but it's obviously worth it. The weather there's amazing and amazing nature and stuff. And it's a great place. Like I said, I've been twice. Awesome.
It sounds also expensive, you know, Vancouver. It sounds just expensive.
I think it's the most. Let me double check, but I think it's like the most expensive city to live in Canada. It actually is. And Toronto's second most. That's where I live.
Yeah, if you say I live in Vancouver, and then you go, I'm from Moncton, you know, it's like I don't know what Moncton, but that sounds completely different. No, if people watching from Moncton, I don't know anything.
I went to Moncton last year. Remember on my trip when I went to the East Coast? Yeah, that's a lot smaller place.
But it sounds kind of gangster, but probably because it kind of sounds like Compton. So
I could buy a mansion there right now. I think. Anyways, let's get some more comments. Hey Joe, what's up? Yeah, just 11 fights, but I mean, there's some fun fights. Antoine, yes, man, the Canadian crowd's going to be great. I think they sold out really fast, too, if I'm not mistaken. Elevated fight night, yeah. Fugitt, I'm not ordering it. I thought you were talking about Adam Fugitt. Is that how you're trying to reference? Because it's pretty good if you are. Landwehr, Ige, Kurd, a good fight. Yep. There's some good fights. I mean, it's not like they're not good, but I know what he's saying. Like, it's missing a big fight. It could have used 2 title fights, I think.
I mean, we all love Landwehr, Ige, but on every single pay-per-view that would be on the prelims.
That would be on like the ESPN. Yeah. All right, let's get into it, Marcel. Let's start with the first fight here, guys. We have Diana Belbita taking on Maria Oliveira, and odds for this fight are actually really close. It's essentially, I pick them right now. We have the odds. Once I'm pulling them up here, of course. There we go. It's frozen for a sec. Minus 120 Maria Oliveira, plus 100 on Diana Belbita. So who are you picking in this one, man?
Yeah, I'm just hoping Diana Belbita is not watching this one. Yeah, I think it's a very close fight. It's pretty much two girls on the bottom of the 115-pound division, Belbita hasn't impressed me so far at all. She has only one win in the UFC against Hannah Goldie. She got tapped by fucking Liana Jojoa. Lost to Molly McCann. I like her a lot. I think her personality is really fun, but fighting, not really. I know she also lives in Canada and trains in Canada, so pretty much a home fight for her, although she's from Romania. Maria Oliveira, Brazilian girl, Spider Girl, I think is her nickname. Lost last time against Demopoulos, right? Got a loss against Ricci, but she got a good win against Gloria De Paula, which was a fun fight, split decision though. I still favor her, man. I think her techniques are better. Definitely on the stand-up. I don't see the fight going to the ground. Maria Oliveira, unanimous decision for me, man.
I think this fight's another close one for sure, as the odds indicate. I think a good bet here maybe is the fight going the distance. I don't really see a finish in this fight because if you look at their resume, especially Belbita, she gets beat on the ground, right? Her submission defense is not very good, but her striking's good and she can stand and bang, dude. I think it's actually a great fight to open the card. I think they're going to stand and bang. I think it'll be a good fight, man. I really do. Oliveira, good striker as well. Have you seen that? Like you said, some crazy techniques. That fight with De Paula had some really, really cool techniques in that fight. Here's the thing, though. Like, I think it's going to be super close, but I do know that Diana Belbita is someone that constantly walks forward in her fights, constantly throws strikes. She has a really high strike rate. She gets hit a lot, too, which is obviously an issue, but she lands a lot of strikes and constantly walking forward, throwing punches. She will have the crowd behind her. Like you said, she's an honorary Canadian in a way, right? I think the crowd's obviously going to be cheering for her a lot more than Oliveira, and that could impact the judging in this fight. They're the same age. There's no difference there. Belbita's slightly more experience in her career, but she has more in the UFC for sure. And honestly, Marcel, I was really thinking about Oliveira, but I've turned the other way here, also because of the Demopoulos fight too, because Demopoulos dropped her. Demopoulos outstruck her. That's not good. The wrestler too. I don't know if she outstruck her, but she dropped her, right? That's just not a good sign. And then obviously, she's fought 3 times in the UFC, had the one win over De Paula, and that's someone Belbita had a close fight with as well that she lost. But again, close fight. I kind of feel like Belbita, I know she can stand and trade. I know she has a good chin, and she's going to stand in the pocket and get hit. Now, you might be right, man. She might just get complete out-techniqued here, and like it's clear that she's like the worst striker and she just loses a clear decision. But I think it's going to be super close. I think it could be a split decision, and I'm leaning towards the dog here a little bit by maybe a split decision. Very, very close fight. Not one I don't know. Maybe I'm kicking myself because she might end up winning and you get plus money, but it's just even money. I don't think I can bet it, but my lean is towards the very slight underdog. Marcel, it's basically a coin flip. Let's be honest. It's minus 120 plus 100. It could be minus 110 each at the end of the week, but I will take the fighter who will, I think, have the crowd behind her, who I think will walk forward more, who I think will attempt more strikes. Even if she's not landing, it still looks good to the judges. So that's kind of what I'm thinking will happen in this fight. It should be a good one.
So what was your pick? Split decision, you said?
Belbita by split decision.
Okay, and how did you call it, you said?
What do you mean?
You picked the dog. Say it again. You picked it? Oof. Yeah. Give me a second.
Only plus 100 though. It's not really even a dog. It's barely a dog. I guess it counts as a dog. I don't know. It's only a plus 100. It's even. It's like It's like Elizu last week. He was plus 100. I mean, it's a dog technically, but it's not like I'm going to go be like, oh my god, I picked this crazy underdog. It's a pick 'em fight. Again, more aggressive, more strikes landed, better looking in the judges in my eyes, but in their eyes, we'll see what happens. All right. Here's a question. What do you guys think of the card? I mean, Marcel doesn't really like it. I'd say 7 out of 10, maybe. I'd say a 7. I don't know. It could end up being good, though. I think there could be some fun fights on here, including this one, Marcel, the next one here. David Dvorak taking on Steven Erceg, making his UFC debut in the UFC flyweight division. Odds for this one really, really inflated. Minus 340 on David Dvorak, plus 280 on Steve Erceg. I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on this guy, Marcel. So I'll be honest. I'd heard of him, obviously. He was supposed to fight Clayton Carpenter, I think, last month. The fight, I think was it a visa issue or something? I can't remember. Right? I think he was supposed to fight Shannon Ross. Was he supposed to fight him or something? Or
no, he fought Shannon Ross before.
Oh, he fought Shannon Ross. Wasn't he supposed to fight someone else, though? Or was that the fight?
Only Clayton Carpenter. Yeah.
Okay. So that was, I believe, was it short notice as well, that one?
No, it was actually supposed to happen in the Apex, I think, in April.
That's what happened. Okay, now I remember it happened. Yeah, he ended up fighting someone else. Okay, so I didn't know much about him. That's the point. And I watched his tape last night. Man, he's pretty good. I don't know if you watched it, Marcel. I thought he looked pretty good. Really good grappler. He goes for the neck. He's long. He's a big guy for this division. He's really lanky. Let me take a look at his height and stuff. Okay, it's not listed, but he's definitely the taller fighter, I would imagine here. Let me see if Tapology has it, because it's on UFC stats. His height is 5'9". He's a big flyweight. Like, he's really tall and lanky. He is a good grappler. He has some striking. It's not bad. But more of a guy who will try to submit you. In fact, 6 wins by submission, only one by knockout. So more of a grappler by far, but does have a little bit of power from what I've seen. I think he's beatable for sure, but I do think that there's something here with this guy. And I think the UFC obviously liked what they saw, and that's why they signed him. So I think a good prospect for this division. Then obviously Dvorak was supposed to be fighting Matt Schnell in this card. And Matt Schnell is a good fighter with a bad chin, right? So that would have been an interesting fight. I would have picked Dvorak personally because, again, I don't trust Schnell's chin at all. This fight's different. It's a little interesting. I think it's even – I know the odds are really high, but I almost feel like this is a harder fight for Dvorak, Marcel. I don't know if you agree with me at all, but I do. Dvorak's pretty good, but he's also beatable too. He's lost 2 straight fights, and he's been competitive against Nicolau Kopp. He was competitive, but still ended up losing. I don't know. He still has 5 fights though, compared to 0 in the UFC, and that experience is a big, thing in my eyes. Usually in fights like this, where guys making his debut on short notice, I think that experience could play a factor. But then again, I thought Erceg looked really good in the tape. This is a tough one, man, for me, Marcel. Honestly, I think the value's on Erceg for sure as a plus 280 dog. It's just tough to pick him on such short notice here, and obviously we just haven't seen him in the octagon yet. I do like what I see. I guess I'm leaning towards Dvorak just by decision, just because, again, the experience in the octagon, I think, will play a factor here. And he's a decent grappler himself, so I think he'll be able to get out of those spots. But honestly, I think Erceg's a live dog too. So lean Dvorak slightly for the pick here, guys, but I do think the values on Erceg at plus 280. I think that line is really inflated. I don't recommend putting Dvorak in a parlay this week. He might end up just dominating. Maybe I'm wrong about how close I think that will be, but I think it's dog or pass for a bet. Personally, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on this guy. Have you watched his tape? What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I did.
You like it? You picking him?
Yeah, I'm picking him, man.
Dude, there we go. I mean, I thought about it, man. I'm really thinking about it still. Like, it's just he's good, right? Go ahead.
I really like him, man. I like his ground techniques. I think he's really good. I mean, a lot of people were already talking about him for a long time, that he should be signed by the UFC, and that's what made me interested in him and watched him. I think he's really good, man. I'm picking him, and I think he finishes it early. I think when they are dry, they go to the ground. I think he gets a rear naked choke or something. I'm picking first round submission.
Very possible. Now, the only thing I will say is I watched his one loss. I would always like to see how guys lose too, and that fight he actually got taken down. Was the other opponent was on top, so that was 6 years ago, excuse me. Obviously improved a lot since then. I'm just saying, like, Dvorak, it's a pretty good grappler himself, and more experience. Honestly, though, Marcel, I think it's a good dog pick. Especially at these odds. We'll see what happens. Again, slightly Dvorak, but it's not confident, guys. A couple of comments here. Marcus likes the dog too. Another dog pick, Marcel. There we go. Do it again. Press it.
Oh, I have a different one. But the commercial was playing, obviously. That's why I can press it immediately. You have to wait 10 seconds for the different one. Give me some time. Who got another dog?
Yeah, this guy here.
Marcus. Good one. There it comes.
Oh, yeah. Love it. You got to get YouTube Premium, man, so you don't get commercials like I have. It's so worth it, bro.
I have an ad blocker on my computer.
I know. I watch it on the thing is, I watch it on my TV all the time, so there was just no way to get that on my TV. Anyways, it's like $10. It's worth it, just to say. But ad block's good too. Anyways, I think the Octagon Jitters 2 is possibly, if he can't finish him early, he probably will lose the decision. That's what I think. Egg got a ranked guy. Makayev can't get a rank. I know, it's kind of crazy, actually, when you think about that. Makayev can't get a ranked guy. I mean, I would imagine Dvorak probably turned him down, too. I don't think he would want to fight him. Guram and Hardwick, is that the fight? Have you heard that?
No,
it doesn't really make sense for Hardwick, does it? Or even Guram. Guram should be fighting.
Crazy Pado. Give the source, man, where you hear it. Then we can see if it's true or it's just BS. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got Kyle Nelson, the Canadian, taking on Blake Bilder. Bilder minus 225, plus 190. Kyle Nelson, the monster. I'll start with this one. I like Blake Bilder here a lot. I mean, I can't pick Kyle Nelson. Again, fellow Canadian. I just can't pick him. Like, I haven't really been impressed by him ever in the UFC. He did have a draw in his last fight against Choi, but Choi had like a headbutt that got a point deducted, and that's why, you know. He only had the one win against Polo Reyes. He's been finished a bunch of times. He has looked more durable lately. I'll give him that. But here's the thing that worries me again. You know, this featherweight weight cut is just a big cut for this guy. He is a bigger guy. He is bigger in this fight. He could try to use that frame to his advantage. But Bilder, man, yeah, I think he looked really good in his debut against Shane Young. I picked him there. I think you did too. I think he was like a dog, or it was like really close to even or something.
I'd like to slide dog.
Yeah, he was like dog. I loved him in that fight, and he looked great. Obviously, really good striker, and he actually has some wrestling too, right? So I think he's a good prospect. You know, he is 32, so he's not super young. I was a little surprised to see that they are right now. Actually, sorry, he's technically they're the same age, but he's born in July, so he'll turn 33. So he's actually the older fighter, I guess, by a few months. But I think he's the fresher guy. He hasn't lost yet. He just had that one draw. We haven't seen him lose. I think he'll be the better striker. I think he can like stop the takedowns. Yeah, Kyle Nelson just way too hittable too. You know, his strikes landed 2.85 guys compared to 4.89 absorbed, and that's in like 6 fights. So there is a sample size there now, a little bit. He's just so hittable. I think Bilder by decision, because Nelson has been like looking more durable lately, but I think Bilder could knock him out too, potentially. But I'm picking Blake Bilder for sure. Maybe he could submit him too, even potentially. But I like him to win. Regardless of the method, I like him to win this fight quite a bit. What do you think?
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, Animalas look good. I think against Shane Young, he looked really good. And even against Alex Morgan, not the soccer player, but the fighter, you know, he looked really good in the contender series. Yeah.
My fellow Canadian who got dropped and then submitted.
Yeah, and Kyle Nelson, he got a draw last time out because of conman Chris Toyoni taking a point from Duo Choi. Yeah, man, Bilder, 100%. And I say 100%.
Yeah.
I even see a finish here, man. I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? So I would be surprised if he finishes him. I'm all over Bilder here in this fight. And you see next week, I'm completely wrong, and Nelson pulled it off. But no, I'm taking Bilder here. We took them both, I think, against Shane Young, and we're taking them both again.
Yeah, I'm of the 3 fights we talked about so far, this is the one I'm most confident in. I like him quite a bit in this fight, guys. All right, we'll go to the next fight here, guys. We have a
Ariel Helwani.
What?
Ariel Helwani.
Who? What are you talking about?
Ariel Helwani. He's fighting Aoriqileng.
Oh, you're talking about, sorry, my God, Aiemann. Zahabi looks exactly like him. I saw this comment. Underrated betting podcast. Shout out to the boys putting in the work each and every week. I fucking love it, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got Aiemann Zahabi, the lookalike of Ariel, I guess, taking on Aoriqileng in the UFC bantamweight division. Odds for this one, Aoriqileng minus 125, plus 105, and Aiemann Zahabi. So again, very close odds. Who are you picking?
Yeah, man, this is a difficult one. I feel like, you know, I think Aiemann Zahabi, he won his last 2 fights, you know, but he's like a super difficult guy to pick, I feel. You know, he came in the UFC, got a win, then losing 2 straight. Then you're like, yeah, maybe he's kind of off. But, man, that Ricky Turcios fight last time was horrible, you know, and that was definitely horrible for Ricky Turcios, I remember. Good win for him. Aoriqileng. Yeah, I feel like Aoriqileng, he started in the flyweight division where he had a good fight with Jeff Molina. I think was a fight of the night. He had a good fight with Durden, but he lost both fights. Then went to bantamweight, got 2 wins against Cameron Else and against Jay Perrin. But both of those 2 guys are not like the top of the top. You know what I mean? It's pretty much the bottom.
Both guys are not on the UFC roster.
Yeah, exactly. So I know disrespect to Perrin and Else. I respect them a lot, but that's just how it is, you know. And for Zahabi, I'm more comfortable with picking Zahabi here, man. I think it's a close fight, you know, but I feel like Zahabi has more tools to win here. I think he can keep distance. He can pick his shots. I think even the ground would be good, you know. I'm on Zahabi here, you know. I feel Zahabi wins. I don't think a finish. I see a decision here. Aoriqileng super tough, but I'm on Zahabi. I'm here. I think Ariel gets his win here. Yeah.
I'm not sure about this one either, guys. This is really tough, like Marcel's saying. Like, I think the odds are pretty much dead on, to be honest with you. I slightly Aoriqileng, younger guy. overall, he's got more experience, a lot more. He has 33 fights compared to 11. That's a lot more experience. But level of competition, not amazing. All those guys he beat in China weren't great. Zahabi, I think, is slightly better level of competition. But again, what I don't like about Zahabi is he just doesn't fight that often, right? Like he barely fights once a year. He does come from obviously TriStar. His brother Firas, great coach. He'll definitely have a good game plan here, and that's why I would stay away from this personally because he might just be way more technical and just win a points battle like his last fight with Tercios, right? I could easily see that happening. But again, at the same time, Aoriqileng, I just think the aggressiveness, walking forward, we know he can take one to throw one. I also feel like he's more likely of the two guys to go for a takedown maybe as well. He scored not a lot, but he scored a takedown 3 of his 4 fights in the UFC, whereas Zahabi, not really known for his takedowns, just one overall in the UFC. So not saying he's the better grappler by any means, but I think he'd be the guy more likely to pursue that grappling. And because he's a pretty big dude as well. I guess the size is pretty similar, to be fair, because he's moving up from flyweight, obviously. But yeah, I just feel like Aoriqileng will mix it up a little bit more. But again, I'm not confident. Like, I'm not betting on this fight. Don't force anything. If you guys have a great read on it, go ahead and bet on it. But for me, it's a pass. Aoriqileng by decision. I do think it goes the distance, probably, Marcel. I think you agree with that. So maybe that's the play. Just the fight goes the distance. But yeah, mostly a pass for me. A couple other comments here. Yeah, they kind of look alike, I guess. It's kind of funny. Off topic, what brand's your cell phone? I have an iPhone 10, I guess, XR or whatever. It's a few years old now. What do you have? Android?
Samsung S22, I think.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Roger? Fading Canucks set for Blonde Barriault. Well, we'll talk about them in a second here. So go to the next fight here, Marcel. We have Miranda Maverick taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius. And odds for this one, Maverick's a big favorite here, minus 300. Plus 250 on Jasmine. Actually, get your thoughts first, and I'll talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine, she won her last fight against Gabriela Fernandez. She looks pretty decent in that one, I think. Before that, got pretty much destroyed by Natalia Silva. And I remember that back then, I think we both picked Jasudavicius, man, getting into that fight because we didn't know about Natalia Silva coming back after that injury she had, but she had to pull out from, she had that, how do you say that? I think she had a broken arm and she recovered from it. But we're not talking about Natalia Silva, but about Jasudavicius. That was actually her first real loss, in my opinion. I still think she won against Elise Reed in CFFC, that fight. Yeah. I think Jasudavicius is pretty decent. I still not convinced if she's top 15, and we're going to see it now against Miranda Maverick. I think Maverick is pretty good, man. But I was really disappointed in her last fight against Shanna Young, man. I really had the feeling that she was like, I think she beat her before, right, Shanna Young, and I really had the feeling like that Miranda thought too easy about it, and that she won, but it didn't really look good. She got some decent wins in the UFC. Honestly, I only think she lost to Aaron Blanchfield because that Macy Barber loss is still bullshit.
Yep.
I feel Maverick can win here. I think she wins the decision. I don't think she finishes it, but I think she wins it. I think she's stronger, and I see her winning.
I'm going to pick Maverick too, but I think Jasmine's interesting here just because she's a big girl, man. You look at the size here, Marcel, 5'3" to 5'7", right? 68 to 65 reach. Big girl. And the last fight was pretty impressive against Fernandez, just taking her down constantly, 11 minutes of control time. I think she matches up decently well with Maverick, who's probably going to pursue the wrestling, but I don't know, man. Maverick, like you said, great record in the UFC. And here's the thing. She has way more experience in the UFC, and she's still 8 years younger. She's still a young girl. She's only 25. So, she's still super young, strong as an ox. I don't think she's amazing, Marcel, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought she was better than she was. I think that Macy Barber fight, I think, honestly hurt her career a lot. She was really on the upswing, and then it kind of halted. And the last fight with Shannon Young wasn't – I think she should have finished that fight. I really do.
Yeah,
right?
for sure, yeah.
So the fact that she didn't kind of is a little concerning her. But at the same time, more experience – the stronger, I think probably the stronger grappler, probably more likely on top. And then on the feet, probably a slightly better striker as well. And Jasmine does get hit a lot too. Again, negative striking differential. But again, the size and the matchup, right? Because Jasmine's a pretty grappler too. I think it goes probably distance as well. Jasmine's very tough. She can take a punch and tough to submit. Maverick by decision. But again, I might sit this one out as well. I know a lot of people will parlay her. I get it, but I might sit this one out as well. There's a few other fights I'm more interested in, for bets. So that's my thoughts on this one. I'll quickly get these comments. Miranda and Jasmine both made the best women win. Yeah, they're both likable. Crazy line, but the younger fighters are getting done. I mean, she's 25, and Jasmine, even though she doesn't have much experience, she's 30. She's 34, Marcel. She's the same age as me, so like not super young, but again, hasn't taken much damage either. So, quickly, any good MMA related company works as a writer, betting broker, etc. I mean, I couldn't even say, man. Honestly, like I don't even know. It's a different game out there, right? Than it was before. I still dabble in MMA, but my full time job's just in the sports betting thing now. I don't know, Crazy Pato. I wish I had a job for you, man. I really do, but I don't at the moment. Sprinkle of value on Jasmine. I mean, it's your call. I would think by decision would be how she would win anyways. So maybe by decision, but if you want, but I don't know. I think Maverick probably wins the decision here, but again, I don't know. I don't know about a bet for me. I'm not sure if I can because again, the matchup. All right, next fight, Marcel. We have Chris Curtis taking on Nassourdine Imavov, and odds for this one, Imavov, is minus 150. Chris Curtis plus 130. Actually, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this fight because I have a way I'm breaking down this fight, and I'm curious to hear how you're going to break it down. So go ahead.
Yeah, man, Imavov. The problem with Imavov is his cardio. Normally, his cardio is not holding up very well. I think he slows down during the fight. You saw it even in the Strickland fight, man, where he had a full training camp and Strickland took it on short notice. I feel like he didn't look much better than Strickland with his cardio, and Strickland's cardio is normally always on top. Curtis known for not really starting aggressively, you know what I mean? But out of nowhere can knock you out. You saw it with Joaquin Buckley, you saw it with Brandon Allen, you saw it with Phil Haas, how he does it. And Imavov is a better starter normally than Curtis. So either I think Imavov gets him early out of there, but if that doesn't happen, I think Curtis wins the decision. So I'm picking Chris Curtis here.
All right, so here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing. My Chris Curtis picking record in the UFC is terrible, okay? It's just, I think the only one I got, let me take a look, actually. He's had 6 fights in the UFC, guys. So here's the thing, right? I am 0-6 on his fights. I'm 0-6. It's pretty bad. I'm not great at picking his fights, obviously. Because I picked him to lose against Haas, Allen, and Vieira. Then I picked him to win against Hermanson. The Buckley fight, I might have picked him against Buckley. I can't remember that one, but the Gastelum one, I think I did pick him to win, and he ended up losing a controversial decision, right? So just not good at picking his fights. But here's the thing, like, Imavov, I've picked all of his fights right, except for the Haas one, which I think should have been a draw personally. But so I'm pretty good at picking his fights. Here's how I break this fight down, guys. Here's the thing. Because Imavov really tends to slow down that last round, and Curtis really picks it up in the third round, and this fight's likely to go to decision, I'm pretty sure Chris Curtis wins the third round, right? Like, I'm 90% sure, Marcel, 95%.
So it's about
sure.
the second round, probably.
It is. That's what I was about to say. Because the first round, again, he's a slow starter. Imavov probably, lands more strikes, and Curtis goes back to the corner, and they start telling him what to do. And I think it'll come down to who wins the second round. And I think Curtis will start picking it up, throw more strikes, land more strikes, and win the decision. Because honestly, Imavov is not that impressive, guys. Like, his ground game is. Here's the thing: his ground game's good, right? That's where he beat Heinisch and Shabazian, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Curtis has 100% takedown defense in the UFC, including stuffing 20 takedowns against Rodolfo Vieira, 20 takedown stuffs, guys. 6 takedown stuffs against Hermanson, 3 against Gastelum, and did
22 against Vieira.
20, and then 3 against Brendan Allen, and Haas 3. So he stuffed 9, 15. He stuffed 38 takedowns, I believe. That's insane. Like,
6 fights.
That's great. I mean, his takedown defense is awesome. So is Imavov really going to be the guy that takes him down? I mean, Jack Hermanson, I think, is a better grappler. I think that Vieira is a better grappler, and maybe not the pure wrestling, but Imavov, he's a pretty good wrestler, but not like elite. And then on the feet, he is okay. I don't think he's amazing on the feet, Marcel, either, to be honest with you. Like, Maybe he's mixed it up more with the kicks, possibly. But I still think Curtis, much more technical boxer and huge power, as we know. Yeah, Chris Curtis, I think, wins the decision here, guys. I like him here as a dog. Plus 130, Marcel, I have to. And also, we have to mention, Strickland, his teammate, his best friend, just beat Imavov, and obviously they have a game plan for this guy, and I think, that works in the coaching staff there at the gym. So I do think he wins. Again, he's going to win the third round. Imavov might win the first. The second round decides it. I'm leaning towards Curtis, Hopefully this is the first time I get one of his fights right, or the second time, whatever. But, yeah, I like Curtis as a dog. Couple comments. Yeah, he is a slow starter. He probably drops the first round, but I definitely think he wins third. And because I went to UFC or MMA decisions, Marcel. I went through all of Imavov's fights and all of Curtis's fights. Almost all of Curtis's fights that went the distance, he's won the third round. And then with Imavov, he actually, I think against Phil Hawes, he won that round, but usually tends to slow down in the later rounds, as we know, right? Remember against
Buckley, for example.
Yeah, he did beat Strickland in the fifth round, I think, but Strickland had won the first 4 rounds, so he kind of gave it up. I mean, he didn't care. He just was trying not to lose. Moavo is the main event. Chris Curtis put a fight tonight. Yeah, it should be on the main card, but they don't. I don't know. They don't put Chris Curtis fights on the main card. They don't.
By the way, have you watched the Man Dance podcast from?
I just saw the clips already. Is it funny?
It's funny.
I'll check it out. I haven't had a chance to yet. This is banger. What game plan Strickland will give Chris? I mean, I think it'll be just be aggressive and hit this guy more than you get hit. I guess we'll see what happens. Could you imagine Curtis takes to the ground? I mean, I doubt it. If anyone's going to get a takedown, probably Imavov. But again, he stuffed 38 takedowns. His takedown defense is very good. It's very good. Take consideration that Strickland was 10 pounds heavier. Imavov, that's true. Coming off a training camp, well, he took a break, I think, before that fight, dude. He was skiing in the mountains or snowboarding or something. He didn't beat Canada, but he fought that fight with him. But I know what you're saying, but yeah, it was still short notice. I think Imavov needs to learn how to pace himself. Yeah, I mean, he is a longer guy, taller fighter. They have the same reach, but the length the height, he's 5 inches taller. I think Curtis sometimes realizes too much power. Buckley was outlaying for the KO. Hermanson one circle is true. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Hermanson, man, that's how I think Imavov could win. But Hermanson fought such a great, perfect fight that fight, and still lost the third round. So yeah, the body shots too. I think so too because it's a taller guy. All right, guys, let's go to the next fight here. This opens up the main card, and we have a middleweight fight between Eryk Anders and Marc-Andre Barriault. Marc-Andre Barriault minus 150, Eryk Anders plus 130. I know these guys both had nice finishes in the last fight, so give them credit for nice knockouts. But the way these two match up, I kind of feel like this fight's going to be a bit of a grind, man. I really do. A lot of fence pushing, guys. That's what I see. 50 minutes of fence pushing in this fight. Hope I'm wrong and someone just gets fucking blasted and knocked out, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be them just kind of changing position along the fence. I think Barriault is the better fence guy right now, and also I think he is the better striker a little bit as well. Better overall fighter. I think his camp is a little better too. I think he's performed more consistently lately. But Anders, is decent too. So I think it's going to be a decision. I lean towards Barriault, especially in Canada, getting the nod, but it'll probably be pretty competitive. But I am going to pick Barriault by decision here to open up the card. And yeah, of the two middleweight fights, it doesn't really make sense that the ranked guys are on the prelims. It's kind of weird, right? What are you going
to say? Listen, man, you're the Canadian, so I'm kind of disappointed. They say Marc-Andre Barriault.
Marc-Andre Barriault, yeah.
Fighting Eryk Anders. The thing is with Eryk Anders, man, dude is so inconsistent. He got that good win over Kyle Dawkins last time out, but before that, he got that loss against Park, which should have been a win. I know. But still, he has a lot of fights where he is then he looks like a world beater, and then I'm like, yeah, it's not that great, Kind of same goes for Marc-Andre Barriault, although I don't really think he's a world beater. I think he's decent, but this is like a typical fight between two fighters who are super inconsistent, and it can go both ways. That's how I feel about this fight. If I have to pick a winner, I'm with you. I'm also picking Barriault by decision, but I feel like you said, a lot of clinching against the cage. Not a fun fight to open the main card up. probably with. But hey, maybe I'm wrong and we see a knockout in the first round and everybody's happy. But yeah, I don't know. And not the fight. I don't think it will be great. Barriault decision is my pick as well.
Yeah, so the same pick there. All right, guys, let's go to the next fight here. This one could be a banger here, Marcel. We have a fun featherweight bout between Dan Ige, 50K, taking on Nate the Train Landwehr. Odds for this one, Dan Ige minus 250, Nate Landwehr plus 210. I'm actually really curious for your thoughts on this fight. Are you picking an upset in this fight, Marcel?
No. Okay. No, I don't. Dan Ige, he was on a 3-fight losing skid, right? Went to fight Damon Jackson, knocked him out. And the thing is with Dan Ige, I feel like if he doesn't fight a guy who is above him, or better than him, he wins. And he can win viciously with knockouts, If you look at Nate Landwehr, a super fun fighter to watch. Got that crazy win over David Onama last year, which was close to be a fight of the year contender, I think. He got that win last time against Austin Lingo, which was a good win, a stoppage win. But the thing is, Nate Landwehr is a really how do you say that? A really attacking fighter, really wild. You know what I mean? And that's what people love about him. He's good on the mic as well. But Ige is more composed, and Ige picks his shots. And I think if Landwehr fights wild like he normally does, he gets knocked out in the first round by Dan Ige. That's what I think, And listen, if Landwehr paces a little bit more, fights smarter, he can get a win here. But I think Ige knocks him out in the first round. And that's my pick, Dan Ige, first round knockout.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. So I was thinking about Landwehr's a dog because, man, he's a dog, right? He is. Yeah. Woof. And he's looked great. And let's be fair, we haven't really been picking his fight. We did get his last one, right? But the Onama and Klein fights, we didn't pick him there. I don't think we did.
Definitely the Klein one, not.
Yeah, no, that one. Again, I talked about this one. This is why I remember you were like, "There's no reason to pick him here. There just isn't." Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, easily, he's going to lose." And then he looks amazing. Yeah. He's looked good, but I still really think he's hittable, super hittable, man. Yeah, I do. I think he's super hittable. I think the chin, could go at any time. And we've seen him get KO twice in the UFC. Now he's taking a guy who has power in Dan Ige. And we've seen him get a couple knockouts in the UFC. Like you said, Marcel, really look good overall in the UFC. And then he fights top 10 guys, he loses. Other than that, he wins most of his fights. And he looked great against Damon Jackson. He looked great. And Damon Jackson was on a nice run at that point. I know Damon's chin isn't amazing. I get it. But still, great win for him. And I think he could do the same to Nate, honestly. I think he's just going to be way more technical. And Nate's going to come in and he's going to drop his hands and Dan's going to knock him out. So Dan Ige by knockout, that's the way I'd go in this one, guys. I think Dan Ige wins the fight. Again, he usually beats guys that aren't ranked. Couple other comments. Roundtree or Andrews last time he was on pay-per-view was against Roundtree 236. Yeah, he got knocked down 4 times in that fight. It was a brutal fight for him.
Roundtree looked really good in that fight.
He looked amazing in that fight. Hopefully this brawl. They might, but I think Dan's just more technical. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. All right, next fight here we got Mike Malott taking on Adam Fugitt, and I really like this fight, guys. It's a fun one in the UFC welterweight division. Mike Malott minus 210, Adam Fugitt plus 180. Marcel, you obviously know I'm picking this fight. I mean, there's no doubt I'm picking Mike Malott to win this fight, and obviously I'm going to pick him by stoppage. All of his wins are by stoppage. I think he knocks out Adam Fugitt. Adam Fugitt looked great in his last fight. Give him credit, man. He had a nice comeback, it was an upset win, I should say. But the fight against Morales, gets knocked out there. He's been knocked out twice. He is a good fighter. All his wins are by finish except for one. I talked about him a few times on the podcast. I remember doing a tape study last year. Was impressed. But, again, I just think Malott's the real deal, man. I really do. He's looked amazing in the UFC. I can't go against Mike Malott. I really can't. Just look phenomenal. I mean, his fights he's made them look really easy. Mickey Gall's obviously not great, but he destroyed Mickey Gall in a couple, 2-3 minutes. And Johan Leiness, again, not great, but still, it was a wash. It was a washout. Needed to step up. I think they could have given him someone even better or a bigger name, I should say, than Fugitt. But Fugitt is a pretty good fighter, and the UFC respects his skills, obviously. That's why they gave him this fight. I think the odds are good for Mike Malott here. I think he wins 2-1 favorite. That's good. That's fair. And I feel really confident this fight's not going 3 rounds, guys. Just the way they fight, no way. Mike Malott goes out there, puts on a show for the fans, and knocks out Adam Fugitt. Wins a bonus, too. That's my prediction, Marcel.
I see it a little bit different, man. You say the UFC thinks Fugitt. I think the UFC thinks Malott can style on Fugitt. That's what I think, and that's why he's there. That's what I think. I think Fugitt did really well in his career so far. I think he looked good against Morales in the first round. Remember,
Yeah.
Then he got finished, and he got that upset win against Kinoshita. Not many people gave him a chance there. I know he had, but not many people gave him up front. Malott wins this, man. Malott is good. I really like him. I have him a first round knockout in this one. I think Malott finishes early, and I'm with you. He probably gets a 50K bonus. And I like Malott a lot. I like Malott a lot. That wasn't. That was not on purpose. So yeah.
I saw Mike Malott fight in 2014 in Toronto. I'm just looking at it right now, and he also in that car was Kyle Nelson. That's funny. But he knocked the guy out, and I've always liked him. But what I was going to say was there's a comment here about Malott being hittable. I mean, raw torque. I mean, are you just basing on the Hakeem Dawodu fight? That was in 2014, a long time ago. Because in the UFC, he hasn't been hit at all. Maybe I'm forgetting a fight. Maybe I'm forgetting one. Let me know if I am. But I mean, almost all his wins are he's destroying guys in the first round. Like I don't think he's really that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does get caught here. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think Malott's just he's in his prime right now. Remember he took off a couple of years to coach, right? At Team Alphaville. He learned so much in those 3 years. I guess he was out. He's looked really good in the UFC. I feel good about him here. Anyways, yeah, Malott almost all his wins are by first round finish. It's crazy. I do think the fight ends in the first round too, probably. Yeah, actually, I don't like betting under 1.5, but this would be a fight I would definitely consider it. UFC loves some cheap fights to make card. I mean, they're going to probably give a bonus to Malott because I think he'll finish the fight. But yeah, I think Malott's making 12-12. He's from Contender Series, right? So he's probably he's making 20-20. I don't know. What do you say?
Malott is not making a lot. Yeah.
Oh man, he should though. He's a really good fighter. Comes from a good athletic family. His brother is an NHL hockey player too, so that's pretty interesting. All right, guys, time for the co-main event of the evening, and this is definitely the best fight in the card. It should have been 5 rounds, in my opinion, Marcel. I think you'd agree with me on that one as well. Odds for this fight: Charles Oliveira.
Main event.
Or main event, yeah. Charles Oliveira taking on Beneil Dariush, and great fight here. Odds actually went up today. Okay, that's interesting. So Beneil Dariush now -150 favorite, +130 on Charles Oliveira. Marcel, hit the button.
Yeah, I'm going to say something crazy, dude.
Dude, hit the button, man. I want to hit the woof woof. Do it.
Yeah, but I'm not taking the dog.
I'm taking the dog. I'm taking the dog.
Are you taking the dog?
Yeah, man. Hit the button, bro.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Let me see if I not get another commercial.
No, I'm taking the dog. Yeah. Go ahead. Hit it.
Of course, I got another commercial. Give me a second. 5 seconds.
Yeah, of course that happened. 3, 2, 1. Plus the 130 on Charles Oliveira. Like, guys, are we forgetting how fucking good he is? Are we forgetting how good Charles Oliveira is? He gets beaten by Islam, and everyone thinks he's not going to beat Dariush now. Don't get me wrong, Dariush is really good. He's on a roll, but come on. Oliveira is so proven. You can turn it off now, so. Look at the roll. Look at the run he was on before. Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler, Ferguson, Lee. Like, it's just a run of killers, man. Like, it really was. Amazing, best submission guy ever in the UFC. Even better than Royce Gracie, potentially. Improved his striking a lot. Still hittable, right? Still hittable. The chin is still questionable. He's been dropped a lot. But I just think, man, Dariush is a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but I don't like the matchup for Dariush, honestly. Is he going to out-wrestle and out-grapple Charles Oliveira? I don't think so. I mean, maybe he gets top control. It's possible. I know Islam did, obviously, after dropping him, but I think he'll struggle a bit there because I think Oliveira is an amazing grappler himself, and then, as we all do. And then on the feet, don't get me wrong, Dariush has got some power and he's unorthodox and stuff, but like he's hittable too. He's actually been knocked out, 3 times in the UFC? He can be knocked out too. Both guys can get knocked out, but I just think Oliveira is the better striker. I think he's the better grappler. He's the more experienced guy. He's the former champion. We are really sleepy on him here. More experience, everything. Like, Dariush is good. He has more momentum. I get that, but I'm not writing Oliveira off, man, at all. I can't do it. Not yet. No, just because he lost to Islam doesn't mean he's not good, in my opinion, anymore. I'm not saying you would think he's not good just because he loses to Dariush, or is the underdog here by any means. But I'm just saying, like, I just think he has, like, most of the things are in his advantage. I think Dariush, his path to win would be get top control, but then you have to, like, being Oliveira's guard for 3 rounds, that seems pretty tough to do. And then the other one would be a knockout. And Dariush does have some power, but I don't think he's going to knock out Oliveira. Yeah, man, I'm taking Oliveira. Actually, I'm taking Oliveira by knockout. That's my pick here, Marcel. So Oliveira by knockout. I think people are sleeping on here as an underdog. I'm not ready to write him off yet. He's the former champ. He's a great fighter. He's a Hall of Famer too. I'm taking him by knockout.
That's the only way I see Oliveira win by knockout, to be honest. I think, yeah. Listen, man, it's not a fade on Oliveira or anything, man, but I just think that Dariush can be able to control him from top position, with his wrestling.
Yep.
And I think Oliveira's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is better, but I think Beneil's wrestling is better, and I think he can keep top control. If he gets hit, it can be over, because Oliveira has the knockout power to stop him. But I feel confident with picking Dariush, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm picking him with a decision here.
Confident,
I think
really? Like,
I am.
Based on what though? Like, really? Like, I mean, it's Oliveira, dude.
Styles make fights, man. That's why I think Dariush, with his wrestling, will be stronger. I think he out wrestles him, and maybe it's crazy, but that's how I feel. Like I said, man. People say I was crazy as well for picking Islam, and Islam won as well against him. And I didn't expect Islam to knock him down or anything. I expected Islam to submit him, but not knock him down, I'm picking Dariush here, man. I feel confident picking him with a decision. I honestly think he wins all 3 rounds, 30-27.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I guess we both have strong opinions either way, right? So that's interesting. I got to get comments here on this one. Got Dariush pick, Charles, Bronx by decision. That's interesting. I feel like he'd finish him, but maybe goes distance is plus 160. Oliveira's what's his last decision when it was against Tony when he pretty much broke his arm, guys.
Yeah.
Oliveira's only won 2 decisions in the UFC, and he has 20 finishes or something, 17 finishes, I guess it was. Maybe this is the fight. Dariush is pretty tough, but I don't know. I feel like it ends inside the distance for him if he wins. I think Dariush would be more likely to win the decision, but again, we'll see. I mean, again, I like to think I'm a fortune teller, but I'm not. So, yeah, Marcel, a couple other comments here. Dariush, another one. It should be 5 rounds. Like, it's stupid when the fight, all number 1 contender fights should be 5 rounds. Someone said Dariush's body's weak.
Or someday.
I think he's just seeing someone. I think that's what he meant.
Okay.
Maybe. When has he really been hurt to the body? Am I forgetting a fight? I can't. Yeah, he's been knocked out to the head a few times, but
yeah,
maybe Evan Dunham hit him to the body. That guy was a good body checker. I'm just looking through his record, like it's so long ago too. We'll see what happens, man. He's looked great. I just think Oliveira is really fucking good. When was the last time Oliveira didn't get hurt before he came back? The last time would be against. Let me double check because you're right. He gets dropped a lot, right? Technically, Chandler didn't drop him according to the stats, but we know he hurt him in that fight. The last time would probably be Tony Ferguson where he washed him, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other fights, but again, he did fight Chandler, Poirier, and Gaethje. Those guys knock out most guys in the division too, and they weren't able to finish him. So, but then again, Islam dropping him is a little concerning to me personally. Maybe his chin is going to go. I don't know. We'll see. He is hittable. There's no doubt about it. But again, he is a really good striker too. Everyone kind of forgets about that. And his ground game's amazing. Darn good fight. It is. It's a fucking good one. Another Beneil by TKO. It's like the Paul Felder fight, I guess. Yeah, I mean, possibly, right? Like, you're right, Marcel. I mean, he has been put on his back before, right? For sure. But again, I think it's just a dangerous game to play, because, yeah, I mean, even though Beneil's amazing on the ground, I mean, Oliveira's all-time great. He's legendary status on the ground. Anyways, should be a great fight. Should be a great fucking fight. And the winner of this fight turns around for Abu Dhabi. Yeah, I think so, right? Winner fights Islam, I would think.
Yeah.
Especially if it's Beneil, right? Especially, for sure. All right, last fight here, guys. Main event. We got Amanda Nunes taking on Irene Aldana. Odds for this fight. Amanda Nunes favored minus 325. Irene Aldana plus 270. Marcel, I do think Aldana has a puncher's chance. I will say that, right? She's a good striker. She's won 3 of her last 4 fights by knockout. So she's got a chance. And obviously that camp is on fire. With Grasso and all those Mexican fighters, Diego Lopez, all those fighters down there. But at the same time, Aldana is a good fighter, but she is older too. I mean, they're both 35. She's been around for a long time. And even though she did, get the win in her last fight, she did get taken down 3 times there. And some of her losses, she's been taken down, right? Her takedown defense overall, 80% is actually nice, but Holly Holm took her down 5 times. You know, she aced on 3 times. Amanda Nunes, last 3 wins, 6 takedowns over Pena. She didn't take down Megan Anderson, but she obviously submitted her. And then 6 takedowns against Spencer, 8 against Durandamy. I don't even think she'll stand and trade. I don't think she'll try to. I think if the fight takes place in the feet, guys, I think Aldana has a real chance to knock her out. But I just think Amanda will continue to push the wrestling here and get the fight to the ground. And honestly, I think she'll probably end up in mount position at some point and ground and pound get the win here, because Aldana, she has lost by ground and pound from like full mount a couple times in her career, I believe. So that's kind of how she's beaten. I know in the UFC she's been super tough and went to decision, but if you look earlier in her career, she did get finished a few times. And Amanda, I looked again through her resume. While she has, had more decisions lately, and while it's more likely these days, still a ton of knockouts and still a lot of power. So leaning towards Amanda by TKO. That's what I'm thinking. Ground and pound. What are you thinking here, man?
Yeah, I feel like you said, Aldana has a puncher's chance. I think she has a chance, but I don't feel comfortable picking Aldana here for the simple reason. If you look at the last fight against BC Chasson, she wasn't winning at a certain moment until she had that kick to the body, and she stopped her with that. I think it was 1-1 going into the third, and she was the bottom.
Yep.
Nunes. By the way, did you watch the how do you say that, the countdown already?
No, I didn't see it. I don't watch usually. No,
me neither normally, but I wanted to know, because if there's a lot of luring with the kid again, then I'll skip it. Nunes doesn't do it for me, to be really honest, as well in the UFC anymore. She did well against Pena. Good rematch. She won that fight. She said she had problems with COVID in the first fight. After COVID. And I believe her, if you look how she fought the second fight. She only got in trouble once with an armbar, almost, I think, with overall great fight. I got to pick Amanda here, man. I cannot pick Irene. I would love to see Irene wins the belt. I really like her, but I cannot pick against Amanda here. I'm picking Amanda by decision, retaining her belt.
Okay, a couple of comments. Man, sub, yeah. When people go on the ground... Oh, Oliveira. Yeah, against Felder. I know what you're talking about. Let's stick to this fight. Competitive. It could be. I mean, Man's going to knock her out. I think so. Nunes gets hit clean. She gets rocked. Yeah. Yeah, Man did go down. I mean, 650 is way too high, though. Like, let's be honest. That was too high. So, like, I think the odds are... I think they're right. I mean, she should be favored to win the fight. She should be a heavy favorite. But, like, 650 was excessive. There was definitely some dog value, I'd say.
Right.
Jason is a big girl. Which fight for bathroom break? Probably Barriault and Anders, because I think it's going to be fence pushing. But what was the other one? What do you think?
I can't agree, And man, if you gotta finish somehow with Curtis Imavov, which I don't think happens, you maybe got a beautiful 30 minutes, 40 minutes bathroom break. You can take a quick shower, make something to eat, get something to drink. I mean,
maybe the Maverick Jasmine fight too. Maybe it's just Maverick wrestling her for 3 rounds. Like,
yeah, they actually should have made that the featured prelim, right? And we got maybe a longer break in between. I'll close my eyes a little bit for 30 minutes. Beautiful.
For sure. Anyways, overall, I mean, like we talked about the card now, so it's good we broke it down. Couple recapping recapping the picks. As a dog, I took Oliveira, I took Curtis, and I took Belbita. And for a dog, Marcel took Erceg. He took Zahabi. He also took Curtis. So I believe, right? You took Curtis?
I did, yeah.
So Curtis is our consensus dog this week, guys. And yeah, those are the only dogs you took. So, well, we both took 3. So we both took 3 dogs, and including 1 consensus. And again, me and Marcel don't like talk before the fights. We like to come in here and not know who each other's picking. So just like more natural, I guess. That's interesting. We both have that same pick. Hopefully, if we're betting on him, Marcel wins. All right. Favorite pay-per-view meal? Pizza, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. What's your favorite?
Honestly, normally a few years back, I always got myself a Ben and Jerry. It's at night over here, right?
Oh yeah, because you work at night. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I ate that, but I stopped it definitely because, like, dude, the price went up so big. It's like now it's like for a pint Ben and Jerry, you pay like €8, and that's like $8-9. I think that's crazy.
Yeah. They have it here too, but I don't buy it because it's too expensive, honestly. Yeah. So, a couple of chicken wings are great. Those are some of my favorite. Actually, I you know what, man? I'm hungry now. I was thinking about getting wings a few minutes ago.
Fuck
I might order some wings. Co-main event loser of the next podcast topless? No fucking way, man. I'm not feeling topless.
Why you want to lose?
No, because YouTube will ban us for showing like nudity. They'll show us boobs on here. No, I'm good with that.
D plus.
Glenn, come to Toronto. We'll go swimming or something. You can see my beautiful body if you want in person. 290 and 291 about the insane. Yeah, I'm going to be at 290. Looking forward to that. Thoughts of Will Brook dominating? Yeah, he looked great. He should be back in the UFC. Honestly, I hope they get him a contender. If not, PFL should give him another chance, maybe. Or even Bellator. Fuck.
I know Stefan Struve really high on the guy he was fighting, that Predrag, the Serbian guy. Yeah. He's like, if he wins this fight, he might get the call from the UFC. And
he deserves it.
Will Brooks. Will Brooks is a short notice replacement for Michel Pereira. So yeah,
dude, he kind of had a raw deal in his first run too. I mean, he had that great win against Ross Pearson. Really good. And then he lost to Cowboy Oliveira, who, is not in the UFC anymore. I get it, but he did have a nice run. Lost to Dvorak. I mean, it's not even really a loss. And then he lost to Nick Lentz, and 1-3, and you get your 4 fights. So I get why they released him. I get it. I'm just saying, like, since then, Marcel, he's won 8 of his last 10 fights. And the loss to Gleison Tebow is complete bullshit if you've seen that fight. It is horrible. You've seen it, right? Like, the ref doesn't know what the fuck he's doing in that fight. That should not be a loss on his record.
By the way, still the best trilogy in the UFC, man. Nick Lentz against Charles Oliveira.
True. I don't know why they did the third fight. Anyways, did we watch the Titan FC card? I didn't. I just saw the Brooks thing. That's it. Nachos are good too. Do you like Smith and Reyes? Yeah, it makes sense. That would be a good fight.
Why not?
Armenian guy fought that was winning, but needed support on the ground. I don't know if you saw him. Scheduled fight. You mean Nurullo Alviev, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know the guy's name, but yeah. It's going to be Fire Adam, Joy 290. I think everyone's going to try 10, 300. Yeah, 300. I didn't even think about that. We'd try to definitely go for that. All right, guys, we're just going to talk for a few more minutes. We're going to quickly go over PFL. We're going to try to go quickly. Marcel's actually doing another podcast after this, so we'll try to get him out of here, guys. Let me just pull up the card, Marcel, and we'll go through it really quick. Just give our picks. One sec, guys.
I want to eat something still. I mean, I cannot get under 350 pounds, so that's impossible.
All right, Brendan Lofton is the favorite here, minus 500 against Pinedo. We're both picking Brendan Lofton. I'm reading your mind. Yeah, there's no. This is they gave him such an easy fight, right? Like they really did. That's the problem I have with PFL, though, man. It's like they should have randomize. It should be pulled from a hat or something. Yeah. Why? The matchmakers are still picking who wins.
Yeah,
you can tell who they want to win these fights. Like, Movid's obviously going to beat Tyler Diamond. Movid is minus 800. He obviously wins, right?
Yeah, of course.
Martin Hamlet against Sam Key. Martin Hamlet's minus 1250. He wins easily. Bubba Jenkins beats Sung Bin Jo.
Bubba wins. Sure.
Minus 400, yep. Josh Oliveira wins against Devin Monch, I think.
Yeah.
He is minus 600. These are all massive favorites. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Marias is going to lose to this guy. Gabriel Alves Varga, I'm picking him minus 315. He wins. I can't pick Marlon Moraes. There's no way.
It's sad, man. You
can't pick him. I don't even know who this guy is. I'm picking. I'm kidding. I saw his one fight. He did fight once in PFL against Pinedo, but yeah, I mean, how can you pick Moraes? You can't. Dan Spawn filling in for what's the guy's name? Rob Wilkinson, right? Wasn't that who it is?
Yeah.
Rob Wilkinson tested positive. Crazy.
I'm picking Flores here, man.
Ty Flores minus 215. I do think he wins as well. Chris Wade, I'm picking him. He is minus 270. These are all mismatches, man. Impa Kasangane minus 450. He's going to win too. This one, what do you think about this one? You think Andrew Sanchez can win?
I'm picking Taylor Johnson.
Okay, Taylor Johnson is an underdog, plus 120. Andrew Sanchez is minus 150. I'm picking Andrew Sanchez in this fight. He did take it on a short notice, but I think he's way more experienced, and I think he's a better fighter. Abby Montaz, that's the girl that beat Clarissa Shields, minus 450. She wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Alexei Pendrad, he is minus 325. He wins too. So I took all the favorites. I mean, there might be an upset, maybe. I mean, we haven't seen them PFL. There's been some upsets, obviously, but you're right. Maybe the Taylor Johnson guy, that'd be the only one, or maybe Moraes could pull it off. Maybe, right? Because it's a step down. It is a step down, but I can't pick him, Marcel. You can't either, right? You can't.
No.
But maybe he could do it because it is a guy that he, a few years ago would have smashed. Now I don't know. All right, last couple comments, guys. We'll get out of here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Antoine's talking about it's his birthday next week. Antoine, this week. Happy early birthday, man.
Yeah,
I hope you have a great day, dude, and definitely check it out. Yeah, this card's on June 7th. It's on June 8th, right? it's Thursday, this card.
You can scroll up, then you can see it.
Yeah, Thursday. It's a little weird that it's on Thursday, but maybe they're forgetting something that's on Friday. Last question. Which UFC fighters do you think would fit perfectly in PFL? Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, whoever I guess just gets cut. I think everyone could do well in PFL, especially because they pay well. All right, we've hit the hour mark, Marcel. I think we should get out of here now, man. What do you want to say, man, to people?
Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me if you want. If you don't want, no problem. And thanks for watching the show. And Adam does the outro this time, so go ahead, do it.
Yeah, hit that like, share, subscribe button. I always forget to talk about that stuff, Marcel, but it is kind of important. So, keep telling your friends about it and love all the new listeners or older listeners. We appreciate all you guys. Be back next Monday, I believe, for the next podcast, recapping 289 and then breaking down the next card. There's like 5 cards this month, so we've already had 1. This will be the second, 3 more after that. So, huge month of fights, guys. I hope you enjoyed that week off 2 weeks ago. And, we'll be back next Monday to break down the next card and recap this one. So, have a great week, everyone. Talk to you soon.